We're in Memphis, Texas, and this town caught my eye on the way through first time. And one thing I'm immediately tripped out by is the fact that the road going from the plaza out is brick, red brick. So I'm going to take a look around real quick, because this place, this looks to me also sort of like about the size of Paris, probably after it was rebuilt. But it says that in the year 1920, how many people say?
2,800.
2,800 people lived here. So I'm going to give you guys a drive-through real quick, and you can see this is a town in the middle of kind of nowhere a little bit. So yeah, here we are on this brick road. So much of this looks pretty similar to what we were seeing in Paris, except there is far less ruin. In the year 1920, there was only 2,800 people here, which is interesting because it appears to be roughly the same size as Paris in terms of just the buildings. Taller stuff, but you can see, like right here, kind of looks like it's peeled away a little bit. Interestingly, this courthouse this entire square is covered in bricks. Hall County. Oh, isn't that something? But yeah, this entire place is empty. You have a courthouse here that looks as if there was probably a top on it, just like in Paris. And the top is just gone. I don't know what the official story is. I doubt I could get much of an official story without going in a museum or something. But yeah, this entire place is empty. And they're saying that in year 1920, 2,800 people lived here. But this, it's like this. There's a couple of tall buildings in Paris, but like right there, where that one is, this one in the center, that would be a tall building there. And then there would be a tall building right there, and one or two more spread out. But they're saying that in the year 1920 there, about 10,000 people lived there. But yeah, interesting. Just a little stop on the way. Bricks everywhere. A little bit of ruins here. This is a building that burned down maybe not too long ago. Hard to say. I highly doubt these statues are old at all. But yeah, another bizarre little ghost town in the middle of Texas. In 1920, there were 2,800 people here. Today, there are only a little over 2,000 people here. Very interesting. Not saying that that's unheard of or too crazy, but it peaked in 1930, and then everybody left, I guess, because it's kind of out here. Who knows? Very weird. Interesting one for you guys. We're in Clarendon, Texas. Now, funny enough, I got stuck out here one time because a serpentine belt on the vehicle I was driving had snapped in the middle of nowhere. This is almost 10 years ago. Anyway, I haven't even seen this building. There's another crazy white stone building I remember very vividly. But this is the oldest courthouse in the Texas Panhandle. And it says it was built in the year 1891. The thing is, this town, it looks extremely similar to the video I just did of Memphis. Maybe I'll just combine these videos. But Memphis is about the same size as this place as far as the way the buildings look and stuff. The amount of just, infrastructure there is. But in the 1890s, when this courthouse was erected, allegedly, there was less than 900 people living in this town. And even into the 1920s, it went up to about 2,000 people, they say. But they built this courthouse when there was less than 900 people here. And it has admittedly been repaired. They basically said that they had to rebuild it, but basically, according to what they have on the internet, they rebuilt it according to how it was. And they said that it had serious water infiltration problems. So, I mostly wanted to get a little bit of video of this courthouse because this town, it looks very similar to Memphis. There's really not much going on out here. Sacred geometry. Stone, not concrete. This courthouse is asymmetrical. That is, it is not the same on any side. It's a little funky looking, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Doesn't appear to really be in use. So, this chimney kind of looks old compared to this stuff. This, they said, was damaged in a tornado in like 2000 or in the 30s or something, and they rebuilt it. They rebuilt the top, which maybe when they put in this alternating this Masonic checkerboard patterning. Pretty much all of these buildings, you guys, everywhere, they're all remodeled. We know that. But the question is, how much is original? We don't really know. I was noticing in Wichita Falls that a lot of the stuff, some of it seemed to be sort of an imitation. But yeah, these buildings, you see them all over the place. Sometimes they get turned into churches. Most of the time they're courthouses. Sometimes they become county buildings. But, they all have pretty much very little history, actually. So, let's get a couple more shots of the town. And I actually did get stuck here pretty much overnight. From the middle of the day, one day, till the middle of the day. Another day while they worked on my car. And I actually walked around quite a bit. And I actually think this is bigger than Memphis. And yet Memphis had more people in it. Supposedly, at one point. But yeah, there's just nobody here. I mean, I could go do like Paris and walk around all these alleys and show you how everything's kind of a little bit, identical. But this is not one of these places that was apparently blown up with bombs. Everything kind of just looks like, you know, whatever. Anyway, that's Clarendon, Texas. Courthouse. Several windows we can see are boarded up. I wasn't really even counting. I counted at least 3 so far. And that's just from what I've seen. But yeah, it occurs to me that probably a lot of the stuff, the size of it is not really captured so well on this phone camera. But again, we know that this was modified because they had to rebuild it because tornado damage, whatever. But imagine there's 900 people in your town and you're in the middle of fucking nowhere, and this is the courthouse you built. I might get a little bit more of the town here in a minute. This isn't really the town. I mean, it is kind of, but again, I'm going to show you because there's actually some more developed stuff over there. But yeah, today 1,800 people live in this town, and there's nobody here. I mean, even when I was stuck here, there's just a ghost town. But there's 1,800 people here. That's twice as many people living here as there was when they built this courthouse. Very interesting. So here is the, brick roading again. There's quite a bit of it. Goes around the corners here. Here we have this 10 Commandments. This is obviously pretty new. But yeah, here's another shot. You can see there's actually some gold on this one. Gold colored paint. You can see it catching the sun there. Maybe you call that orichrome, I don't know. You know, a lot of people know that, a lot of these buildings have Freemasonic lodges either next to them, or they have blocks on them that say this was built by the Freemasons, whatever year, blah blah blah. But yeah, there's checkerboards and stuff, but that particularly is the part that we know that they have rebuilt. Alright. Basement windows. Mud flood. Bro, we should smoke weed in there. Fuck the ops. Alright. Let's take another look at it's here at the bottom. And this might not even be really anything to trip out about. But it does appear that these bricks are actually curved. Might not be a big deal, but I find that a little interesting. I have to say, this is actually one of the only... I didn't look closely at the old red courthouse. I'm not going to get to that this trip. But this is one of the only big stone courthouses I've ever seen that does not have a brick somewhere that says... doesn't have anything that says anything about being built by Freemasons. This, where we were a minute ago, it actually has a lot less buildings than this. Like, we're a street over here. Oh yeah, every one of these buildings is empty, by the way. Hey, look, a free drum kit. So, yeah, more red brick, by the way. It keeps going. But yeah, so it's interesting because there's actually, even today, 200 less people than there are in Memphis, and even back in the day, it was about 2,000 people, they said, in the 1920s. So yeah, it's interesting because it's bigger here, much bigger, much more spread out. But there was less people here the whole time, allegedly. And yeah, we've got this same just red brick, just keeps going. We're gonna keep looking around. This river is still brick. And I wanted to get a shot of these buildings here. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Look, AOL. Yeah, pretty much empty, empty, empty everywhere. And you have this building. This place, it seems way more alive than Memphis, that's for sure. Yeah, way less people. Here we are at the edge of what appears to be the Clarendon High School. Now, I was looking it up, and I can't really. I'm gonna get on top of the car so I can see better. So you see there's these big stone walls around it, and I know what you're gonna say, that's not real stone, it's concrete with stone stuck to it. Yeah, totally it is, but it's big and it's got barbed wire on it, and this building looks to be a pretty decent size, so we weren't able to see when this was built, but we have a photograph of it in 1922 and it's already there. So that means that the building has to at least be that old. And again, in that time there was barely 2,000 people here, so just something to keep in mind. So there's one side of the wall there. Everything around here is empty. We're gonna see. I'm gonna try to look around without getting in trouble. Let's see what happens. Okay, so let's check this out. This side of the wall looks different from the others, and we can see there it is actually kind of just like rocks stuck together. But again, these rocks on this side, the rest of them are red. These ones aren't. I don't know what's up with that, but you can see here it's actually rocks like kind of stuck together, mortared together. And this is a pretty big enclosure here. This is their football stadium or something. You know, this building, it really doesn't look like much at first glance, but we're just taking a look around. We're just trying to determine basically, you know, what's going on here. Oh, now that's interesting to me. Check out these symbols there. That's very interesting to me. Oh, I like that symbol a lot. It's another one of my symbols, just like the swastika. Okay. So yeah, nobody's here right now. This is some kind of school building. These windows on the bottom, a little short, maybe muffled. Maybe muffled. Okay, so here. This one's got the Freemason thing on it. Right. Dig. Cool. That's about it for this. We're kind of on a hill here. You can see this tower over there. That appears to be some kind of grain silo thing. But if I walk over here just a little bit further, you can see there's the top of that courthouse. So maybe it's not really clear how big that place is. But that should give you an idea. Just in this little empty lot in these neighborhoods here, and just a weird little stone tower chilling. Pretty interesting. Claude, Texas. Another place that looks pretty much completely empty. And when we look around, we do see random little stone buildings like this, I guess, jail, sheriff's thing. Okay, so now we're gonna go over here because I learned a little bit about this place just now. This courthouse doesn't look too fancy when you look at it. Let's take a look around. This place looks exactly like Memphis. Oh, a little less. There's no red bricks on the road. But you see this courthouse? It looks really boring now, especially on the top. Okay, so they've got this courthouse. You can see the top of it looks really boring and kind of shitty. But I found some old photographs, and that part used to be ornate with stone. So, who knows what got them to put like weird hollow stucco up there instead. It's leaking water. Not quite sure, but this courthouse is pretty big. It's actually bigger, I think, than the one we saw. Oh, there's your Mason Lodge there. Okay. Oh, interesting. Okay, so this is a little bit bigger than what we saw in Memphis, and I looked it up. They said they built it in about 1890. In 1890, and this is the Armstrong County Courthouse. Armstrong County had 900 people in it. This town here in the year 1890, when they built this courthouse, supposedly, maybe someone can correct me in the comments if I'm mistaken, but there were only about there were less than 300 people living in the city. So that's interesting. So he pointed out there's some mud flood windows there, but yeah, that courthouse, it was a little bit more Gothic looking at the top before. I didn't say anything about why they did that. I just saw a photograph of it in 1920 and then one in 2003 or something. It looks really shitty now.